Victory!
A very good evening to you all and welcome to Charltontv. Look, it was a disappointing result and performance at the Kassam Stadium against Oxford on Saturday, but just 3 days later, we have the chance to get all 3 points against MK Dons. Looking forward to that one. Lots coming up in today's show. We'll talk exclusively, as always, to Nigel Adkins. We'll have a snippet of a special interview with former Addicks midfielder Radostin Kishishev. We'll be turning the clock back for an international edition of Memory Lane. We'll touch on Saturday's defeat at Oxford. And at half-time, we'll be speaking live to one of the biggest characters at the club, the one and only Bob Boulder. Looking forward to that one. Gary Nelson is alongside me, suffered his first defeat of Charltontv at the weekend. We'll come on to that in just a second, Nels, but alongside both of us, this man.
Johansson can run on himself with the ball. Holland coming in from the opposite flank. And it's Matt Holland who puts Charlton in front again. Flicked in, and it is a goal. It's Matty Holland. Plenty of possession. There's Holland. Shot from Holland. It's a super goal.
The poor ball from Radostin falls nicely for Matt Holland. Oh, it falls very nicely for Matt Holland.
Jensen. This is Stewart. And it's in. Couple of deflections. And Matty Holland is claiming the final touch.
It is a very warm welcome indeed to Matty Holland. Matty, I mean, I was looking at some of those goals there. I mean, one of them looked like Stevie Gerrard.
Yeah.
Top corner in some of them from outside the box. Great headers. We finish on that one.
I don't know why you finished on that one. You've got to be in there to score them, though, haven't you? You've got to get in there.
You certainly have. How are you? Okay, looking well?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Busy day today?
Busy day today, yeah. Been working today. So, yeah, but nice to be here. Looking forward to the game.
Yeah. Nels, we thought you were guaranteed 3 points on Saturday. Your 100% record last season. What happens? You're under pressure now?
Well, I thought my performance was all right. And I've moved off the left wing to more of a central role. No, a little bit underwhelmed with the performance on Saturday. You know, Nigel said in the interview that everything looked good in the warm-up, everything looked good in the prep, and he was, you know, feeling quietly confident. But fair play to Oxford. I thought they played really well.
They did.
And I just didn't think we were quite enough of our players were quite at it on the day.
Thoughts of tonight's game?
Well, I think, I know it's early days in the season, everybody's trying to settle down, there's a lot of new faces. MK Dons have got a lot of new faces. I just think what you're after is a positive start. You know, there's a message laid down that, you know, they're at it, going to be at it tonight, not laying off and seeing how it all goes. For me, it's about how they've reacted to Saturday's game, and for me as a manager, I'd want to see them coming out firing and really getting, you know, into them and putting down a message early doors.
How do you see tonight's game, and also the response after what was a disappointing defeat Saturday?
I think Nigel will be looking for a little bit more at the top end of the pitch. You think 3 games in already and only 1 goal, and that's from the penalty spot. I think that's something that he's going to be looking at. Obviously, Charlie Kirk involved on the bench tonight. Be interesting to see if he gets some minutes. He hasn't done a lot of training, but good to see him involved. But I think the top end of the pitch is something that Nigel will be looking at. I know he said sort of 28, 29 clean sheets, didn't he? He talked about that end of the pitch being right. But to win games, you've got to put the ball in the back of the net. So
definitely. The last time I saw you, 10 days ago now,
Yeah.
at the Valley, with your boy, I didn't recognise it. My
boy?
goodness, how old is he?
22.
He's no boy, is he?
No, he's not. You know, he's a little mini-me, isn't he? He's sort of look-alike, isn't he? Yeah.
But look, Carly Byrne, Nelson and I at the weekend had a really good chat, a long chat on Saturday about that day. It was a fantastic, special occasion, wasn't it?
It was brilliant. It was so good to have fans back inside the stadium, first and foremost, and then for all of us to be able to come back and pay tribute to Curbs, really, because he played such a big part in a lot of our careers, and such a big part of this club's history as well. So for him to be able to get the stand named after him, as it has been for quite a while, but then be able to actually physically come to the ground, have the fans sing his name and stuff, and us to be able to come and pay tribute to him as well, I thought that was absolutely brilliant.
You know, as all here on Charlton TV, we love a story. I know we asked you a couple of stories last season about Curbs. Any others that you've got?
Crikey, top of my head.
But you can tell us.
Oh yeah, struggling. Listen, Curbs always asks, doesn't he, about traffic. I mean, we've already said
we
that.
mentioned that
well,
the weekend.
The best bit is, I mean, it's his day, and everyone's saying, "Oh, you've got to get here early. You've got to hear Curbs will be here early." He didn't get here till about 4 o'clock, did he? About 4:30. He got stuck in traffic. He came in. The first thing he said was, "That bloody tunnel."
That's exactly what I mean, it must have been 400 times he's come through that tunnel. And
Unbelievable.
That got a mention on Saturday, did it?
No.
The Black Wall Tunnel.
Just 2 or 3 as well. Look, I'll tell you what, we're going to speak to Nigel Adkins in just a couple of minutes, but let's have a look at tonight's team, shall we? Because it is interesting. It is unchanged, again. Nelson, what we saw at the weekend, what would have gone through his mind? Good to see Charlie Kirk on the bench there.
I think he'd be telling, to Matty's point, really, he wants to see a bit more endeavour. He wants to see a bit more creativity. I mean, we've talked about the fact they've only got the 1 goal, but you also look at the stats. They haven't had many shots on target.
No.
They haven't had many shots full stop. And we've got to start looking at the creativity in the side. And, I think he'd be asking for a lot more. I think DJ, he'd definitely be asking for a bit more from him. I think Oxford did a good job on him. Albie, when he gets on the ball, can he be a bit more direct, and can he open up little passages of play in and around the edge of the box? And can they get round Jayden? Because he felt, for me, he looked very isolated at times. 3
games in now, isn't it, without making a change? Maybe suggests that he doesn't necessarily trust the squad or the depth in the squad. Would like, I'm sure, to bring in a couple before the end of the transfer window and just strengthen these options, really. I mean, obviously, he's got a couple out injured at the moment, a few to come back. Alex Gilby's someone I like. And I talk about midfielders breaking into the box, and he's a key player in that respect as well. But 3 games now without winning a game yet, and he's thinking he's still got the same team. So you're a bit surprised there's maybe no changes so far.
That bench is an issue, isn't it, in terms of maybe transfers coming up in the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, I think Thomas alluded to it in an interview that we saw on Saturday, saying he's still looking at a handful of signings coming in before the end of the deadline. And to me, from the first game, Matt, that we were there against Sheffield Wednesday, the game was probably crying out to see if somebody could go out there and change something. But he brought on one of the subs, I think, in the first game, and that was quite late on, and which to me gives the impression that he's not quite convinced about the depth of his squad.
We'll continue this conversation in just a second, because delighted to say that Nigel has joined us now. Nigel, can you hear me okay?
Loud and clear, guys. You all right?
Brilliant. Very good indeed, thank you. I mean, we were just touching on the Oxford game. Having re-watched it, how do you assess it?
Yeah, obviously I sit down 7 o'clock, 7:15 on Sunday morning, and went through it. And obviously things that we did really well, we did some really good things, and some things we didn't do well at all at. And obviously the 2 goals we conceded, we could have stopped both of them. And sometimes the goals changed the complexion of the game, where Connor Washington was in and the keeper's made a great save from him. That could have changed the complexion and put us in front. As it was, we've gone behind, and then to be fair, we've done well to get back into the game. As I said, some good things, some things we've got to mix it up a lot better. Ultimately, we didn't get the result we were after, but we've got a great opportunity again tonight to go again.
How disappointed were you when we got back into the game, and then the second half, perhaps expecting to kick on? We didn't put them under much pressure. And what does that tell us, I suppose, as well, about the options on the bench? You tried to make changes, but it didn't quite happen, and therefore transfers in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I mean, we did try to affect the game. Obviously, the energy of a Josh Davidson, for example, because DJ, we never got him the ball. So we talk about threats in the team. We never got one of our influential players the ball enough. So, you change it after an hour. And I bring Ben Watson on as well to try and get on the ball and influence the ball, as you say, to build the play a bit more. Instead of us, maybe we were a little bit too direct into Jayden at times, who was a massive threat. But then you've got to get the balance. All of a sudden, they've got a few players around him. Therefore, the space should then be created up to get more passes in and build the play in another way. Ultimately, we've got to get the ball in the attacking third of the pitch in a controlled manner, get the ball in the pomo, stick it in the back of the net.
Unchanged tonight. What were your thoughts about perhaps changing? And good to see Charlie Kirk on the bench as well. How close was he to starting?
Delighted he's on the bench for us. I'd like to think he's going to make an impact during the game. Listen, I think it's been well documented. Like all young men, he's had a challenging little spell. He hasn't trained for a long time. He's had a couple of days training now, which gets him back into it. The last thing we want to go and do is him get injured. But, you know, he's on the bench. I'm looking for that impact to come off the bench today. I've kept the same team to start with. As I said, when I look back, there's some good things we've gone and done. We're trying to get a unity. It's still very early in the season. You're trying to get a bit of teamship and a bit of patterns of play going. And sometimes you play, you make some mistakes, you learn from them. You do some good things. Can you keep going? And again, when I looked at some things at the weekend, we were just a whisker away from generating what we were after.
Yeah, we know what it's like. The first, second, third games, you're still not 100% fit, and it is about time. But you know, you need time to gel. Pre-season is pre-season, but there's nothing like, especially with fans being back, actually playing game time. In terms of the MK Dons, though, what are you thinking of them? Because under new management, of course, something we didn't expect a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I've just spoke with Liam. You know, it's a great opportunity for him, a young coach. But in MK Dons, they've got a team under the previous manager. They play a lot of football. Again, a formation, 3 centre-backs, a boxing midfield, 2 wing-backs. You know, pace up top. They'll keep the ball. They'll be very expansive. From our point of view, we've got to see if we can capitalise on that. You know, they've got massive threats, but I'd like to think we've got massive threats as well. And it should be an entertaining game. You just touched on the fans. We had fantastic support at the weekend. I'm led to believe we've got more supporters tonight than what there were at Oxford. So we really appreciate you coming to support us. And what we've got to do is give everything we've got to generate a bit of passion and intensity and quality in play. So when you have come here to watch us, then you've actually enjoyed it.
Nigel, thanks very much for joining us. Good luck tonight.
All the best, guys.
Look, I mean, what he was saying there as well, I mean, it sounds pretty simple, you know, be solid at the back, midfield, get on the ball, putting some crosses, but it's not always that easy, is it, to do?
No, it's not. Now, I didn't see the game at the weekend, but I was obviously here for the Sheffield Wednesday game, and one of the things I felt that we didn't do very well was get people around Jayden Stockley. I thought he was excellent in the game. I thought he won his headers, he held the ball up really well. Defensively, he was useful as well in terms of defending set pieces, but I don't think we've got enough bodies around him. You know, the likes of Connor Washington getting a little bit closer rather than staying out wide, getting a bit closer to Jayden Stockley. Some of the midfield players as well, running beyond him and getting, you know, those flick-ons that he wins so regularly as well. So that's one of the things that I think can improve in this team.
Still very early for the league table, only 2 games in, but let's have a look at the other fixtures tonight, shall we? And it is a full fixture list in League One this evening. 4 teams with a 100% record so far. 2 of them, Burton and Sunderland, going head-to-head at the Pirelli Stadium. Our opponents for this coming weekend, Wigan, host early season league leaders Wycombe Wanderers at the DW. Matt, your former club Ipswich travel to Cheltenham as they look to kick-start their season. We'll come on to them specifically in a sec for you, but who do you expect to be right up there come the end of the season?
Crikey.
Look at your crystal ball.
Do you know what? Honestly, this league I think is so open. I think there's 10, 12 teams.
It's the new championship, isn't it?
Well, honestly, that realistically will look at it and think we could get promoted this year. There's a few teams have spent money, and one of them being Ipswich. And they'll fancy their chances of being up there. But there's honestly 10, 12 teams there that will realistically fancy their chances of getting promoted.
It's about that, isn't it? It's about a dozen teams, Neil. So who's impressed you so far?
Well, Wycombe,
yeah,
but that's no surprise to me. They've just carried on the momentum. They've got stability at the football club. I think he's a great manager. Burton, you've got again a very similar tale to Wycombe, but in the same division. I mean, when Jimmy Floyd took over there, they looked like they were really in struggle,
yes.
And you think quite a small club, quite a small support base. His points per game record since he's been in charge is amazing.
I texted him today, and
did you?
Yeah, he was just he's very happy with how things are going.
I'm a big fan of Carl Robinson as well. I've got to know him quite well and speak about football with him quite regularly. And he's someone that Oxford team have been knocking on the door as well. And so they're another side. I know we went there the weekend, but they're another team I think that will be fancying their chances.
So what about Ipswich then? Because they are throwing money at the moment, aren't they, for League One?
Yeah, 16 signings. I mean, look, he got rid of a lot, and he has brought money in as well. He sold a couple of youth products, Andre Dazelle and Flynn Downs as well. Flynn Downs got the QPR. He's a player that I do like. I think he'll have a really good career in the game. So he has brought a bit of money in, but at the same time, he's gone out and this is his team now. You know, when he first arrived last year, you're looking for an instant impact. He didn't get that instant impact that he would have wanted. But now he's put together a squad that is, you know, a lot of players there that have turned down Championship clubs to go to League One and play for Ipswich. Now, obviously, that tells you they're paying decent money as well. They're paying money, so they're going to go and play for a League One team, and that means that there's pressure and a bit of ambition at the club to get promoted. New owners, new ownership, new model, and there's a bit of pressure on them now to go up.
Ed Sheeran can come off the bench and make
Ed Sheeran's got a squad number. Yeah, he actually has got a squad number. So I don't know whether they'll pick him or not. I doubt it. If your job's on the line, I'm not sure you're going to go to the bench and pick Ed Sheeran, but.
It depends how much of an in he is with the owners. OK, club news now, and tickets for our next 3 home matches are on sale. Wigan are next to head to the Valley on Saturday, and adult tickets for that match start at just £18. Supporters are reminded that last weekend's Alan Curbishley special edition of Valley Review is currently being reprinted. If you couldn't get hold of one at the Sheffield Wednesday game, then you can order one online, and they should also be in the club shop within the next couple of days. Match sponsorship packages are now available for home matches. This package provides a great opportunity for local businesses to showcase their brands in front of a busy Valley. More information on match sponsorship packages can be found on cafc.co.uk. International fans can now purchase a Charlton-TV match pass for Saturday's home game against Wigan. Now, due to EFL broadcast regulations, the club are only permitted to live stream Saturday matches outside of the UK and Ireland, with the UK being classed as England, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, Guernsey, Jersey and the Isle of Man. To confirm, if you are in the UK or Ireland, you can only watch midweek games live on Charlton TV this season, as much as we'd love to show them all. That's due to EFL broadcast regulations. Now, many of you may well have been wondering just where Alan Curbishley is right now. For those of you who don't know, we have sent out our spies and we found him. He's here.
Can I lay down here? Can I lay down here?
No, you got to sit.
Oh, how do I do that? Right in the middle?
Yeah.
Oh dear, I'm so tired. Oh!
Ah!
Who done that? Who done that?
Ada.
I nearly squashed Ada.
Yes, he is on a Spanish beach right now. He's still trying to get out of that hole. He can't
Hard
get out.
life,
Yeah,
eh?
there's still loads of people. It's tough, isn't it?
Yeah, tough. Wish he was that laid back when he was manager as well.
Yeah, he's a bit more uptight, isn't he?
Yeah.
I was going to say, because, you know, he's showing his softer side there. He's clearly always been a family man as well. You got any sort of soft side stories about Curbs?
Do you know, it's funny because last week we were here, obviously, and I was talking to John Fortune. John Fortune was saying to me, I can't believe this is a different man. This isn't the Curbs that managed us. He said he could hardly talk to us, and he was quick to give us a bit of stick when we were doing things wrong. He said, but now, he said, he's chatting, he's talking about when Scott Parker was leaving, he's being really open about stuff. He said, honestly, it's a different man completely.
Nels?
Yeah, to me it was when I got injured, when I was made captain, and I think I was 34, and I got a bad tackle down at Bristol City, and Curbs had spoken to me after the West Brom game where I'd been captain first time, scored the winning goal, and Curbs and Gritty said to me, we're going to give you another year, you know, at the end of this year, straight away. And then I got quite a bad injury and was out for the rest of the season. He said, he called me up and said, don't worry about it now, so we're definitely going to honour the contract. So,
Brilliant.
you know, those sort of things are important to you. But yeah.
I actually met Curbs on holiday in Portugal, not long after I'd signed for Ipswich, probably 2 or 3 years after I'd been at Ipswich. And he said to me, he said, you know, I looked at you when you were at Bournemouth, he said, and I thought you were too expensive. I thought, cheers. You know, I could have been here a bit earlier.
Well, he could have been. I heard they wanted 800,000 and they spent 750 on Clive.
Is that what it
Clive
was?
Mendonca,
Oh, well, that wasn't a bad choice. It wasn't a bad decision.
Wasn't a bad
I'll
option.
go with that. That's
said.
fine. No worries. Good
Quick
decision.
one of Curbs to me. My family's from the Wirral. I was born in the Wirral. We went up north, played Tranmere away. I said, Curbs, do you mind if I don't see my nan, obviously, can I go and have dinner around her place the night before a game? He said, yeah, sure. Just be back by 10 o'clock. So didn't have to do that. In the morning, no. No, that was a couple of years later. That was when I was clubbing after that. But anyway, good to see you, Curbs, and looking forward to see you on Saturday. OK, there were a host of legends from Charlton TV and, of course, people like Nels and Matty as well at the weekend with the unveiling of the Alan Curbishley stand. But none travelled further from Bulgaria than Radostin Kishishev. Absolute legend, of course. He travelled the day before, he went back the day after, and Charlton TV caught up with him to get some of his greatest memories of the club.
What I know is that he watched a few games from my playing World Cup '98, and also '99 we play against England, 2 games, which games we finished draws, both games 0-0 at Wembley, the old Wembley, and 1-1 in Bulgaria, which I make a great expression, and probably from there the first view of my playing, and that maybe get the interest from him to follow me. But my clubs that time, they tried to sell me to the bigger English clubs. I was here on trial to West Ham 1999, but I get injured, and the club, Harry Redknapp, that time said, go back to Bulgaria and we will see. When I get back to Bulgaria, I get recover, and everything start doing well. And that time, Arsenal and Arsene Wenger start following myself. And then I was on trial to Arsenal, and Alan Curbishley is still waiting to see what's happening. And they said, we also want Kish, but Arsenal is top team. If they want him, we can fight with them. But after the trial, everyone knows what's happening. My speed wasn't that good for the team which make Arsene Wenger. The quality is okay, but the speed was not that good. And he said, go in Charlton, probably you will make impact in the Premier League. Yeah, that game, my friend yesterday remember me that game, and I watched it. But it was quite even. I won many balls against him. Also, I kick him, of course, because that kind of player is very difficult to catch him. But I think when I watch the highlights of the game, I did it all right. And then we changed the shirts. That shirt's still at home. The first and great memory when I play against Arsenal, Highbury, and because I was there a month ago and be on trial, and when I saw players like Patrick Vieira and no other thing, Thierry, Pires, was Bergkamp, whatever, all good players, I was really excited. After a few months, we play against Man United. We finish 3-0, and when John Robinson equalized, and that was a great game for us. Great game. I make one of the assists, and the first goal also mentioned with the situation. For that kind of memory, you ask me.
Absolutely, any kind of memory, but overall,
yeah.
You enjoyed your time at Charlton.
Yeah, first year of Abramovich, we won them 4-2. That 12 games without beating us. 2004. Paulo Di Canio, his passion, he's a winger. He's the born winger. And that's the memories. Alan Curbishley, he likes me as a child. Everyone was perfect. As we know, Charlton is like a family club, and is really a family club.
Well, we thank you for being part of Charlton Memories. Thank you for being part of today's memory lane. And it's great to see you back, and hopefully we'll see you back again soon.
Yes, I will come next year when we going up and make another interviews.
We'll hold you to that.
All
Cheers,
right.
Kish. Thank you.
All right.
Oh, fantastic to hear from Kish there, isn't it? And Charlton TV subscribers, you can watch the interview in full on Charlton TV. And you'll need to as well, because it looked like he had so many stories there. He was almost forgetting what the question was.
Honestly, what a character. What
Tell
a
us,
great
you were with him for a few years.
Well,
Tell us what it was like.
Again, here, that game last week against Sheffield Wednesday, he just talked there, didn't he, about Cristiano Ronaldo and how he marked him and how good a job he did and how he kicked him up. Yeah, he actually had the video on his phone, was showing everyone the video.
Yes.
Have you seen me tackling Ronaldo? Have you seen this, Janet? Have you seen me kicking Ronaldo? Yeah, he thought he was Dimitar Berbatov, I think, rather than Radostin Kishishev. But he was, and then he started telling me about his goals. I said, well, that's not going to take long, is it? Because I think he got 2, and he said he got it. Do you believe it or not? In all those games he played for Charlton, consecutive games, he scored in his 49th, he said, and his 50th appearance for the club, and that was the only 2 goals he scored in his time at Charlton. But honestly, what a character! Him and Keith Peacock had a really good relationship as well. Keith last week here, and just reminding Kish about the times that Kish had to strip off to get on the weigh-in day on a Friday, just to make the weight. He put a few pounds on at times, Kish. So Keith was on his case all the time. So yeah, Kish was stripping off when it was weigh-in day, making sure he made the weight. But him and Keith had a really good relationship as well.
Absolute legend. By the way, you got any footage of your time playing at all, Nels?
I've got loads of goals probably I can show you, but Nelson's got more than mine.
You've got a load of good goals, looking at that as well. We'll do that a bit later. Just while Matty's showing exactly some of the goals he scored, we're going to take a quick break. Back after this. Okay, we've been down memory lane with both the lads last season, so we're going to do something a little bit different. It's still memory lane, but it's going to be an international memory lane. Now, Matt, let's start with you. 2002 World Cup with Ireland. How incredible was that? It was the year before you became a Charlton player, I do believe. Just how good was that whole summer? And tell us about Roy Keane and Mick McCarthy. Tell us things we don't know.
It's been a tough start to the summer because we just got relegated with Ipswich back end of the season. Before the World Cup came around. But then this sort of made it a little bit better in some ways because first game, Cameroon, I managed to score.
FIFA won't let us actually show footage, so this is the best we can get.
That's the best we can get, is it? Celebrating with Kins though, look, the Charlton legend as well. To play in a World Cup, I guess, is everyone's dream. Yeah. It's unbelievable. And then to score, I mean, I've got goosebumps now just talking about it because it's just the most amazing feeling. I was lucky that my wife, my 2 boys, my dad were there at the stadium as well. Seen them before the game, knew exactly where they were in the crowd. And when I scored, you lose yourself. Of course you do. You know, for those first few seconds, you're like, wow, I've scored in the World Cup. What do you do? And I went running off to the right-hand side, then remembered where the family were. So that's where I'm running behind the goal to get to where they are. And I'm trying to shrug everybody off.
Kins is holding on to you.
Kins is holding on to me. I've got Robbie Keane dragging me back as well. And I'm trying to go and celebrate with my family, really. What I didn't realise until afterwards was that one of my boys was asleep because it'd been a long day, early start. So the oldest one had been asleep, and my wife had a drink of Coke and threw it over everybody, but no one cared because obviously we'd equalised in the game. It was the most brilliant experience. Strange build-up because of the Roy Keane incident.
What was it like sitting there watching that?
It was frightening, really, surprising in lots of ways. I mean, look, Roy had grievances which I think a lot of us could understand. When we got there, the kit hadn't arrived, the pitch wasn't particularly good, and I think we could all thoroughly understand that. But you're at the World Cup, you're there to do a job, and you have to just get on with it, don't you? And he did an article, I think, in the paper, which upset Mick. They'd had a private conversation, it hadn't gone to plan, and Mick thought it was all resolved. Then Roy sort of did an interview in the paper. Mick wasn't happy, brought it up in a meeting, and then there was an argument between the two for sort of 5, maybe 10 minutes. It's difficult to remember everything that was said and how it all transpired.
But what was the sort of overriding feeling as to who was in the wrong?
I think you could see at that particular time you could see both sides of the argument. Absolutely, you could see both sides of the argument. But ultimately, it's a World Cup, you know, and you don't give that up too easily. So that was it's sad when you're losing a player that actually would get into every other international team. Our one truly world-class player, if you like. I mean, Robbie Keane and Damien Duff became world-class players, but they were young players going into that tournament. Roy at that time was our figurehead and our star, absolutely. So to lose him was a massive, massive blow. Quick story actually about when he went. So I was head down, sort of not looking. Roy's gone out the room, and it's really quiet for about 30 seconds. And Dean Kiley of this parish shouts out and says, "Don't worry, Mick." He said, "I can do a job in midfield." And everyone sort of started laughing. It just all relaxed the situation, and everyone sort of just realised, "Oh, that's okay, that's all right, it's fine."
Brilliant. And yet you still got to the last 16, didn't you?
We got to the last 16. We came through the group. We drew with Cameroon the first game. Then the second game we drew with Germany, who got to the final, and we played well in both those games. Beat Saudi Arabia in the third game to qualify for the last 16. Played Spain in the last 16, and lost on penalties. But
we were looking beforehand. Ireland had more possession.
More possession than
apparently.
Spain. More
According
possession, more shots. We had 55% of the ball, and we had 18 shots to their 11. So it's
so it could have gone even better.
It could have gone better because actually, you know, I think the draw quite opened up a little bit as well. So you always think what if, but it was a great experience.
Fantastic experience, and you got something you can tell the kids, even though they were asleep, but also the grandkids.
I've got the ball actually from the game, from that first game as well. So that's pretty special.
No one can ever take that away from you. So congratulations, Matty. Look, Nels, I know you've still been flying the flag internationally.
Yeah.
With the over 60s.
Yeah, the over 60s made my debut.
Let's have a look at this.
Yeah, there
Can't
I
be
am.
that old, sure.
Yeah, I made my debut.
You're the youngest person there, aren't you?
I was the apprentice in the team. Yes, at 60.
Explain.
The goalkeeper's 68, I think he is. And it's something that I've got to know because where I play on a Sunday morning up until about a year or two ago, the manager was one of our former players, and he's been pestering me for ages to play. There's an over 50s and over 55s and 60s, but he runs the 60s, so there's actually an over 65s as well.
Is there?
Yeah, they haven't picked me for that
Stay
yet.
fit.
Yeah, but we've had some good occasions. That was down at the FAW's headquarters down in Newport. So where the Welsh squad were training before they went out to the Euros, and it was beautiful. We played really well. We won 4-1 actually. And
did you score?
No, I was playing deep line midfield.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, covering all the ground for everyone else. But no, it was
the
a
legs.
Yeah, the legs are still good actually. And
I love the picture. All black boots as well.
Yeah, no, you're not allowed to play without the proper boots.
Proper old school that.
But
I love that.
yeah, it's good to be involved and still. And I was actually surprised how competitive it was.
How much do you still enjoy getting your boots on?
Oh, I still love it. I think we all do. I mean, I played last Sunday morning for my mate's 60th birthday. We had a game under 60s versus over 60s, and there was a 21-year-old playing. He ended up in the fence.
Did you man mark him?
I ended up in the fence. And then we signed him on a free at half time.
I love it. I mean, it's funny actually. A couple of weeks, it must be about a month ago now. Jerry Cole called me up and said, "Look, for my foundation, I've organised this game with former players, and that is like Ashley Cole, Carlton Cole, Jodie Morris." And he said, "Look, I've had a few dropouts." He said, "You've got 2 hours, can you come?" I went, "You're kidding me, I'm 50 in a couple of weeks and I haven't kicked the ball for a decade." But you know what, I absolutely loved it. It made me think, what you're doing, you've got to go out and kick it.
But it takes you about a week to recover. That's
the
trouble.
What? 5 days later, I see Jodie Morris on Instagram saying, "I'm still aching." I thought, thank goodness, because no warm-up, no warm-down. It didn't even last the full game. It was really good fun anyway. Let's bring it back round to today, shall we, or really last Saturday, and look at the Oxford game in detail. Matt, I know you didn't really see it, so Nels, I'll start with you. It was pretty poor in the first half as well, and actually just when you're expecting a kind of reaction as well, it didn't get it in the second half, did we?
No, I didn't think they started too badly actually. The first 15-20 minutes, Oxford didn't really get into the pace of their game, and a bit route one. But look, it's somebody running on, as Matt said, somebody running beyond Jaden, and really good save from the goalkeeper. Connor's not done too much wrong there, but then we're sitting there going, first half, what else have they done? The penalty was a little bit fortuitous. I think Guy astutely at the end, after about 52 views, determined that it was hit the fella's head.
You were still the only one who said it.
Yeah, but this one, there was some conjecture over whether he got fouled there, but he's still a long way out. There's still plenty of bodies. I think, again, in hindsight, I think he might have just got a little deflection off Ryan there, which may have deceived the goalkeeper slightly. Good finish, to be fair, but that's the right back, I think, who scored that, isn't it?
Incredible. Matt, I thought we didn't really protect our back form. We didn't give quality service up to Jayden either. I mean, midfield's such a crucial area, isn't it, to control the game?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, again, this is a mistake, isn't it? We saw the goalkeeper make a mistake, centre-half making a mistake as well. So, you know, difficult to sort of blame the midfield for that, but you absolutely, you want to control the game. You know, we're a team that want to keep the ball, want to pass the ball, and there's lots of ways of controlling it, by dictating it, by winning second balls as well, and maybe that's something we haven't done quite well enough in the first few games as well. But being competitive and perhaps lost too many second balls as well.
Oxford manager Carl Robinson said they sort of targeted DJ for additional sort of defensive, you know, doubled up on him at times. With the likes of Charlie Kirk coming up, maybe not necessarily tonight, although we expect him probably to play some minutes, will it be more difficult for teams to do that with both wingers?
I just think to a certain extent he didn't get an awful lot of the ball anyway, but that's because perhaps that option was shut down and perhaps he went a little bit too direct too early. But also, we touched on it second half, when you've got a player, an asset like that can go past people, can create things, and it's not happening for one side. I mean, I've played quite a lot on the wide there. Our manager used to switch us over just to pose a different problem and just see if you can impact the game. It just disrupts them slightly, but it just sort of flitted out for him really. And in the Sheffield Wednesday game as well, he didn't really feature that much. So I'm expecting a big performance from him tonight.
You've won promotion. What does it take to get promotion? How important is it as well, you know, the depth of the squad? Yeah,
well, I think the depth's massive. Because over the course of the season you're going to get problems. You're going to have injuries to key players, suspensions to key players. You're going to want to rest players when you can as well to keep everyone fresh for the rest of the season. So it's important that you've got depth. I think it's important that you are calm and you show character. I mean, the year I got promoted, I would say we went behind in so many games, but it didn't faze us. We didn't fear going behind because, again, we felt we had goals in the team. We felt we could come back from it. And I think that's important as well, that you don't get too down and beat yourself up too much when things are going wrong in matches. It's about staying calm in games when things aren't going your way and staying in games when things aren't going your way. You saw there 2 goals, 2 quick-fire goals. You can't do that. You can't afford to do that because then all of a sudden you're scoring 3 to win matches. Stay in a game. If you lose a goal, OK, we've lost a goal, but we stay in it now. We don't give anything stupid away, and we know we've got enough quality in the squad to get ourselves back into it. So I think character's a big thing.
Let's talk a bit more about our opposition tonight, shall we? Obviously, they had their manager leaving, Russell Martin, 5 days before the start of the season. How disruptive can that be?
It's hugely disruptive. You know, you just wonder if he's the person that's brought all the new players in. So basically, are they his players? But I was talking to Matt earlier. Liam Manning's not a name I'm that familiar with, thankfully. Matty was, so he's got what looks like to be a great pedigree in terms of who he's coached for. Man City, he was one of those that he's been working for the Man City project. But he's got a lot of young players there, and if they like to play football, which is I'm sure the way that he's been brought up in terms of his coaching as well, I think this possibly suits Charlton a little bit personally. Because I thought the Sheffield Wednesday game, I think with it being quite an abrasive game, I think it just stopped Charlton forming little passing triangles and getting a toehold in the game really. It was very bitty.
They do like to appoint young managers, don't they? Tell us about Liam, because you know him. Matt,
well, I think the structure actually at the MK Dons is that it's not necessarily the manager it's head coach. It's a head coach rather than a manager. So they've got somebody else doing the buy-in. So there's not too much disruption if a manager does leave. So Russell Martin leaving shouldn't necessarily then impact on the first team too much. I would say that Liam is a very similar. He's going to ask his team to play a similar way to the way that Russell Martin did. He's a kid that was at Ipswich actually when I was there, and he's taken a lad called Chris Hogg who was working at Newcastle with him. He was the under-23 coach at Newcastle. He's taken him with him to the MK Dons as well. He's going to want his teams to play, much like Russell Martin asked his team to play. So there's not going to be too much change.
You're still impressing a new man, aren't you?
You're still
trying to impress as a player. You're trying to impress a different man.
Yeah, of course, and he'll have different opinions on players than Russell Martin had on those particular players. And I always think when a new man comes in, it gives everyone that fresh lease of life because there's players there who would have felt they wouldn't get a chance under Russell Martin. But all of a sudden now they've got the opportunity where, hang on, new man in charge, I might well get that chance. But he has been part. He was at Ipswich. He went to West Ham. He was part of the Man City group. He managed in America. He's obviously been managing in Belgium for one of their teams, and he's got this opportunity. Someone that the MK Dons have sort of targeted, recognised, got ability as a coach, feels like he can take them on. He'll want his teams to dominate the ball, but he'll want to do it. I think he'll want to do it with a bit more purpose as well. I think times when I watch Russell Martin's teams, they kept the ball for keeping the ball's sake at times, and he will do that just to try and take the sting out of games. But I think he'll want his team to pass the ball with a bit more purpose.
I do have some good individual players. Troy Parrott and Scott Twine will be interesting to watch tonight. But let's have a look at our team again, then, shall we? It is unchanged again, and you can see that Nigel's trying to get that consistency, that ability to try and build up relationships on the pitch, isn't he? Yeah,
partnerships. I think that's crucial as well. I think if you're going to have a successful season, you've got to have good partnerships, people who know each other's games, and also you've got to have people who can come in and do a job in a certain position when they're going to be missing. I think we've talked lots already. Get people up and around Jayden Stockley. Get Jaisimi the ball, and I think in midfield try and control it better. Try and keep the ball better in midfield. I think at times we've not had enough of the ball in there, not had enough control of the game in the middle of the pitch. So that's something I think that Nigel will be looking for as well.
What would you be saying if you were Nigel, Nels?
As far as Nigel right now, I just say I want to get out there. I want a fast start. I want a really fast start. You've got to lay down a marker early doors. I wouldn't want to see them hesitant, trying to knock the ball about quietly, because that's the way the other team want to do it. I'll be pressing. I'll be really putting a marker down early on in this game.
What do you think of MK this season under Liam?
I mean, obviously, only seen the one game.
Yeah, difficult to say.
It's difficult to judge. But what I'd say is, I would, a bit like Gary, say, invite them to play out. I watched the Brentford-Arsenal game the other night, and Brentford did that to Arsenal. Arsenal, are going to try and play out. MK Dons, we know, are going to try and play out. So almost say, go on then, play out, and then when you do, we're going. We're going to come at you, and we are really going to close you down. So that's something I would be saying if I was Nigel down in the dressing room. Say to him, go on, you can pass out from the back, that's no problem at all. And as soon as you do, we are going to close you down, and we're going to close you down at pace.
You know about Troy Parrott, don't you?
Yeah, he was on loan at Ipswich last year, and obviously he's part of the Republic of Ireland setup as well, and got his first goal recently for the Republic of Ireland. He scored against Sunderland at the weekend as well. Spurs got high hopes for him. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how he develops. But it's great experience, playing at this level. And we already said there's some good teams in this league, 10, 12 teams that we feel as though could be promoted. They'll feel MK Dons that they're a team that can challenge this year as well. So it's a good experience for him to be playing at this level.
Now, it's not been an ideal start, but no need to panic. It's only 2 games in. But how important is tonight to try and get all 3 points?
I think it's important they get a result first and foremost. I mean, we'd all like 3 points, but I think let's get a result, because you don't want to be going into the weekend on the back of 2 defeats in the week. They'd have been looking at those 2 games and thinking there's points there to be had. So football's all about momentum and building confidence and building consistency. And at the moment, I think that we haven't seen the consistency of performance. We've seen little areas of it. We've seen some individuals, but collectively, the performance haven't. I don't think the performances have been consistent so far.
Do you feel that's down to the fact that it's the start of the season and they're still looking to gel, or are we missing something that is still going to be here in 3 or 4 games' time?
I think it is a little bit of that, but then everybody's in the same boat. There's a lot of teams that have got new personnel in, and you try and blend. But I think there's people in that side that can step up a little bit more than what we've seen so far. The game on Saturday, I felt, certainly in midfield, that you looked at Oxford's individuals and you looked at our individuals, and they had far more of an impression on the game than our lads did. So that is an area where I think we can do better. I think Connor worked very hard. Jayden's a threat, we know he is. And then you've got DJ, and we need to get him on the ball and see what he's capable of.
OK, well, let's head to our commentary team, shall we, of Terry Smith, Greg Stubley and Stevie Brown as the players are out.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Matty. Thank you, Nels. And yes, welcome to Stadium MK on a Tuesday evening.